All right. So my book for the second trimester of English honors was The Turn of the Screw by Henry James, which was published in 1908. Now, The Turn of the Screw is the story about an unnamed governess who goes to teach two young orphans at Bly House. Now, the orphan part is a bit of a warning bell because how many orphans have you known in horror movies that are completely normal? Not a single one. So there's the first warning sign. Now, the introduction to the story is when a group of high to middle class people in England get together after a Christmas party and read ghost stories to each other. One of these is a series of letters by the governess that was given to the narrator to really get into her state of mind and to really show a true ghost story to scare the people at the party. Now, the story opens with the actual governess's account of meeting the uncle of her two charges, Flora and Miles, and her really settling in to Bly House. Now, she's basically alone except for a few servants and the housekeeper, whose name is Mrs. Gross. Mrs. Gross is really more of a background character, and she just lets the governess do whatever she thinks is best. The inciting incident is really the second sighting of the ghost, because the first is when she just sees a random stranger walk along the roof of her house, because that's completely normal, especially when you're in a secluded area. Now, the second sighting is when she realizes that the ghost had come for someone else, and that really worries her because she's afraid that they're going to try to seize her or the children's souls. The rising action is really everywhere from when she first gets the job from the uncle up to when Flora escapes into the forest and she goes to find her. And the spirit of the deceased governess is right in front of her, but Mrs. Gross doesn't see her, and she begins to doubt herself, and Flora announces that she hates her. Now, when the ghost isn't seen is the climax, because that throws all of the apparitions and the belief of Mrs. Gross in the governess, it throws it into the shadows because Mrs. Gross starts to doubt if the governess is actually telling the truth and can actually see the ghosts. The falling action is really once Flora has left because she won't see the governess, and the governess is left alone with Miles, who's her older brother, and she's trying to get him to confess to seeing the ghost and that they're actually there. Anything further than that is a spoiler alert, so I'm going to stop. The characters, we have the protagonist and the governess, who's trying to solve the mysteries of Bly and keep her young charges safe, and then we have the antagonist. We have a number of antagonists. It's really up for your interpretation. We have the ghosts themselves, who are supposedly malevolent and are trying to seize the children's souls. We can even have the children themselves, Flora and Miles, who might be lying to the governess and making her doubt herself. And we could even blame the uncle because he doesn't want anything to do with the children. Not a progress report. We'll just let this random stranger take care of my two orphaned nieces and nephews because that's completely normal. And even the governess herself could be to blame because she starts to doubt herself and she goes to extreme measures to prove to others that the ghosts are real and that she's not insane or losing her mind. Now, I would rate this book, I have a rating scale of classics, which is at number 1, which is the lowest you can go, Robinson Crusoe, which is not a good book, and at number 10, we have the short story Young Goodman Brown by Nathaniel Hawthorne, because it really invests you into the story. I would rate Turn of the Screw at around 5, because while it does have a lot of ways you can interpret it, and it would be a good discussion or group reading book, the characters are a little hard to understand and really feel for. You're not exactly interested in what's going on in their lives unless the ghosts are there. You just say, okay, she's losing her mind and the kids are going to have to deal with that. They're not fun characters to really interact with. And the writing style is a little bit long. There are a lot of words that, unless you're a true reader of classics, you're not really going to understand them. I had to look up a few words. So while The Turn of the Screw it's a pretty good group setting book because it has a lot of interpretations and you can really discuss it well. I would rank it about a 5 because it's a little bit boring in terms of the language and writing style used, and the characters are a little bit flat.